Is the belief that humankind can alter the course of the world's climate if we only do this one thing, lower CO2 emissions and the carbon dioxide in the air, and we have to act now or else? Is this belief just another pro-authority, control freak circle jerk? Feels like it sometimes. You can't always control everything. And this is a quote by Entropy. Yeah, I think Entropy is right. You know, there's no limit to the size of the ego boost that you get, that you'd need to think that you would have the power to control the climate. Now we can try, we can do practical environmentalism, clean air, clean water, and try to find renewable energy sources like Generation 4 nuclear, which is great. It doesn't melt down, and it uses its own refuse for fuel, its own product for fuel, its own waste. About 95% or some really good yield on recycling its own toxic waste or nuclear waste. So these are good ideas, but you have to remember, and I think Entropy had it right here, it is kind of a pro-authority, control freak circle jerk at times, if you go too far. I think the Green New Deal, for example, sort of gave an example. The frequently asked questions that were released, and then they kind of pulled back and then said that, oh, this was just a mistake, it was an intern or something. They gave some excuse, AOC did, which is fine because it was a piece of garbage that really almost destroyed the credibility of the Green New Deal. And there's a lot of good goals in the Green New Deal, just not quite, you don't have the system to get there, and the implication for a lot of people, it's, it's all subjective, of course, but the implication based on what we knew assumed that a larger, it would require, more government intervention in the economy, notably the fuel and the fossil fuel industry. So people had some concerns, may they be rational or irrational, about this. And I say, look, it just takes a huge ego to think that you can control the climate, the future of the Earth's, the weather and the climate systems. I mean, it is something that is possible, and we can do certain things to push the ball forward and make sure that climate change and global warming, if they are real concerns, and they very well may be, that we are equipped in the best way we know how to be. And of course, that is the Generation 4 nuclear. So definitely check that out. There's a few people you can follow on the internet that know more about the Generation 4 nuclear power, which is not like the old power that we had before. It's not Generation 1, 2, and it's not even Generation 3, it's Generation 4. And what it does is, there's a number of features to it, and it's going to take billions of dollars to develop this technology for energy purposes. But it doesn't melt down. It can't melt down, so there's a safety. The safety issue is there. It's off the table, essentially. There's no danger or risk of a meltdown with a Generation 4 reactor and all these things. I'm not an exact expert on the subject, so again, I always say, seek subject matter experts whenever possible. And of course, it recycles its own nuclear waste. So perhaps that can be one way that Entropy and I can, agree with the progress of the progressive world. The world We'll be okay, folks. We just got to keep our eye on the ball.